Good afternoon. Hopefully I have sound. Oh my goodness, it's been such a pain today getting this to work. I've got Brendan in his office ready to tell me if I have sound or not before I get into my blurb again. Oh gosh, it's just been, I've had this before where a whole day, everything technical just goes to custard. Okay, I can hear myself in the background there, so we're all good. I'm going to flip the camera around, put my glasses on, and off we go. Okay.
Yeah, you're good.
Thanks, hon. This is a sneak peek, first of all, of a new suite that's coming in the mini catalogue, our holiday catalogue. We've got the Winterly Treetops stamp set with the cute birds and some lovely sentiments and coordinating dies. The dies have this cute little frame that does little sprigs coming in. I can imagine that would be really cute with some words in the middle. We have this gorgeous designer series paper and two of these, one sheet of this, the one on top here, will cut out the single bird or the double birds with the dies. So that's really great. And we have lots of bird patterns, 3 different bird patterns. I really like this one. And other branches and trees. And then on the reverse, we have some gorgeous neutral type patterns, which again are a lot of fun and easy to use in your card making. So that's a lovely set of paper. And that's called the Nests of Winter paper. There's also an embossing folder. This is the Birchwood 3D embossing folder. So it gives you that, looks like bark on a tree. There's a pack of twine with 3 different colours, natural tones, linen thread. I love linen thread. And the gems. So you've got a white, a sort of a creamy colour, garden green, and I think that's copper clay in that set. So yeah, a beautiful bundle that's a beautiful suite, that's launching on the 4th of September. And I've had a few people asking me about how to convert your measurements when you find a project that you like, that a demonstrator has kindly given the measurements for. But it's an Imperial, and in New Zealand we work in metric. So it can be a bit of a challenge to figure out how to make that project in our card size. And it's not just a matter of straight swapping the, sorry, I'm looking for my metal ruler now so I can show you. It's gone walkabout. Oh, no, there it is. So unfortunately, because the actual base card is a different size, you can't just say, well, if it's 4 inches, it'll be, 10.2 centimetres. It doesn't work that way. So that's what I mean by a straight, number conversion. So what we have to do is actually just work in our own size and base our layers off what we do on our own sized card. So this is our Imperial one, and this is the metric. So you'll see that the metric is taller, but not quite as wide. If I put them just that way so you can see. It's just a smidgen. Oh, actually, I think what's happened is this one was made for an event. Actually, I need to give credit to Helen Wigham for designing the card. And I suspect because she's in New Zealand, she's actually done sort of a half and half. But usually the width of the Imperial one is 4 1/4 inches, and our one in New Zealand is 10.5 centimetres. And if you do that straight conversion, 4 1/4 is there, and 10 1/2 is here. So you can see it's about 3 millimetres or 4 millimetres wider. So what I have in my crafting toolkit is some templates. So this is a metric A5 card base, and I've put stickers here, but you can just write on the card. Black pen would show up. And just put your measurements on here. So that's your card base, so you know what that is. And then just create different layers. So this one is 5 millimeters smaller on, so 2 of the cuts, when you make the cuts, you make them 5 millimeters smaller, and then it gives you a border all the way around. Same for the next layer. That one's actually only 2 millimeters smaller, but sometimes I like to use a thinner layer. So if that was black, for example, it can really pop when you've just got a really thin layer. But you can make them whatever size you like, just out of some scraps of card. And I keep them in a clear stamp case. And this also works for if you're using inches. You can do the same with your sizes. So you just have that at whatever your sized base is, and then create the layers. For Imperial, they tend to do 1/4 of an inch. So it's just easier for cutting, easier for remembering. So you just do 1/4 of an inch smaller when you cut out your layers, and then just have them close by for when you're creating. And you can create like that, and then just take them to your trimmer and cut the sizes. So that's my tip regarding that. Excuse me. Sometimes I find it's not worth converting. Sometimes if it's a really complicated fold, I just make it in the Imperial size, or you can do a combination. So you could do your sized base and then do the other part of the card in the correct measurement, in the measurements of part of the tutorial. So it just depends on the design, and I guess how particular you are and how good you are at doing the conversions. So it's really just a case of, because of the height and width difference, just making sure it's still balanced and still in proportion. For example, I couldn't put this measurement of inside card into this one because it's going to be too short. You can see there that it wouldn't meet at the bottom. So there's some things that will convert and some that won't. But I also have a little sheet of a guide for the sizes, and I'll be sending this out with the email of the tutorial. So it says it's got the A4 and A5 and what the actual sizes of that is. And then this is actually the width of our card base. So when we cut it, I'll show you with this one. So that's, our normal standard size is what that is. And this is the card front. So just that front section is here in both metric and Imperial. And then I've given you 3 layers. And you'll see that they don't marry up. As we said before, 4 inches is actually 10.2, but in metric it's 10. So it's all about proportion and working with the size that you start with, basically, with your A4 or your letter paper. So hopefully that's kind of clear. I don't know. I'm quite familiar with it, so it's hard to know if I've covered everything. But I do have, so along with that sheet, I've got some written instructions as well about it that will come out with the video. So let's make a card. Let's make this 3rd time lucky today making it. So I've got lots of samples now. So first of all, I started with our New Zealand sized card base, and I've scored that at 10.5, and then I've cut off 5.2. And with that 5, to create my Z shape, and with that 5.2, I've then trimmed it down even further to 4.8 by 14.4. So now it's going to be a layer on the front. So I'm just going to do that embossing with that 3D birch folder. I'll just do it off camera. Run that through. Oh, big clunk. It's such a cool... Did you see the size of that folder? It's massive. It's very cool. I'll just bring it back. It's a lot bigger than... So that's a square folder. So it's the width of a square folder, but it's longer. And that's compared to our other size. So yeah, quite a bit bigger. Very cool. Okay, now I'm just going to grab my grey granite ink and just rub this across the raised parts of the embossed folder. So if I just hold it there, a little bit harder to do on a thinner piece, but we'll give it a go. And I'm just picking up some ink on those high spots. And just put as much or as little as you like. Okay, so that's now ready to attach. Oops, a bit crooked. A little bit crooked at the top. There we go. That's the beauty of liquid glue. That little bit of wiggle room. Okay, now for the inside of the card, you'll see that there's a circle cut out there. So what we're going to do is get our dies, leave them just here, and we're aiming for the middle of the card, the middle of the middle. So, and I'm going to cut two at once, because on this one I want that outer circle, but then I'm going to use the inner circle for the sentiment. So we're not wasting card. So I'll just go and do that. Yes, I really don't know what was happening today. I even went for a drive to clear my head and come back. When tech goes good, it's amazing, but when it doesn't and you can't figure it out. Okay, now that circle you can frame, you can use on another project, so I'll just put that aside. And then we're going to stamp on this shortly. Okay, so now I've got my hole. I can just crease that. Oh, and we're going to do the embossing folder again. Now I've got to get this right because I did it wrong before. It's got to stick out the bottom like that, because I just want to do the front and I want it to go. So the panel at the front we did vertical, and this time I'm doing it horizontal. I just want that up to the edge of the fold line, like that, and I'll run that through. Oops, and you do have to put it folded end first into the machine. Okay, there we go. Lovely. Right, now behind that I'm going to put my piece of basic beige. And when I'm gluing this on, I'm just going to make sure I don't put any glue around the bottom of the circle, because I'm going to tuck my bird's feet under there. So I'm going to go around this, around the edge, and then I'm going to go around the circle just at the top and leave that bottom bit. Right. So now we've got our circle to put our bird into. And now I've got, I've missed cutting the DSP, but I think we'll just skip over that. So I'm going to put this, I can't because of that. Okay, I'm going to have to cut a sliver of paper. Actually, I would have had one left over, I think, because this would have cut two. But of course I can't find it. I'll just cut another one. So this is a 1 centimetre strip of DSP by 14.4. So I've just been doing this so long and I just have those measurements in my head. The 14.4, that's always my first layer in most cases. That's what I do. Okay, so I want it right up to the edge and I'm doing an even gap top and bottom. And then I'm going to stick this into the centre of the card and there'll be a border all the way around it. I really liked this card design. It's like a Z fold with a extra card inside. Okay, so there'd normally be DSP there. Actually, I should have a piece of that too because I did only cut enough to do one card. So here we go. So I've just got to do my length at 14.4. Perfect. Just check that it fits. Yes. I kind of need that there before I put that circle on. It was good that I already had this card from that event, so I was able to show it as an example of the size difference. Okay, so I've got the copper clay circle. Now this has been cut with the deckled circles dies, and I'm just trying to find where it, here we go, where it fits into my hole here. And then I'm going to, so it's going to go on the back of this piece, like it is here. So I'm just going to put some glue from there to the left. And then it'll be in the right place. When I did my one at the event, I got it slightly off. So you can just see a little bit of that circle at the back when it's closed. But doing it this way, it's nice and neat. Okay. Let's do some stamping. So I've got the, here we are. Sending thanks and much love. I love the font. It's really cool. And this is done in Pebbled Path. I did, yeah, that's better. I did the grey granite on this one, and it was a wee bit light. So I'm glad I went with Pebbled Path. And then that's going to go on here, and you're just going to look for an even border around on that copper clay one. And get the words straight. There's a trick. Okay, oops. Except that, they weren't straight. There we go, oops. Don't move. Okay, so that's the basics of the card done. And then we've just got some stamping and colouring. So I've got a piece here to do my stamping on. using Memento ink because I'm using blends. This is quite a larger stamp, so I'm taking the ink pad to the stamp. So I need one of those. One bird. And then 5 of these little spriggy things. Okay. So I have actually already coloured some, and die cut them ready, but I'll show you a little bit of the colouring. So I start with the berries. I've got the light wild wheat. In general, I start with the light colour and then do the dark. And then come back with the light, but depending what I'm doing. So in this case, I'm only going to use the light and then the dark because we really only got this one little area here to sort of highlight with the dark. It just gives a bit of definition to that sort of top of the berry. And you could even colour that whole little dot in. It would be darker. So that's the wild wheat. And then we could do a leaf or two. This is old olive. So for these leaves here, I would colour them in the light. Then I just do the vein in the dark. And then you can add a little bit more dark at the bottom. And then I go back with the light and just blend that area where and then I kind of get 3 colours. I get the dark, like a double of the light, and then the light at the tip. And then for these bigger ones, colour that, and then I do the same. Just pick up the lines. And I'm using the nib end, and then I just go back over it and just blend those in. And you can leave a lighter area as well if you like. And then these leaves here were done in smoky slate, which is a little bit darker, but it really does add. So my other one I did with the grey granite, and the smoky slate just has that wee bit more depth of colour. So again, you can just leave them like that, or I think I'd leave the thinner ones, and these perhaps slightly fatter ones I could just do a little at the bottom, and again just go back and blend so you get those 3 colours with the light tip. Now with the bird, that was done with, let me get my little example bird so I can remember what to do. It was done with the light copper clay. No, was it bronze? I think it was bronze. Yeah, bronze and ivory. And it was on a copper clay, and then with this one had the grey granite, the light granite for the tummy of the bird. So his little perch, I did his feet first in the ivory. And then I did the branch with the light copper clay. And then really you're just going over those little lines that they put in the stamp, the shading. But there's also a thicker line here, so I'm just going to add some along there as well and maybe carry it down. It's just wherever you think there would be some shading, really. And then you can blend that out. Now, I'll just do his beak. Put some on the beak. And finish that off with the ivory. And then the bird was kind of ivory. So it's like this ivory colour and grey mixed together. And it was the light grey granite. And I'll use the brush end this time because it's a larger area and I want to go circles over that where the two colours meet. You'll see my tip isn't very easy to use. It's a little bit not as firm as when you first get it. So it's had a bit of use, that one. So I'll go back to, so I'm going to put a little bit of grey here in the wing, but then I'm going to add the bronze in the wing and for the detail. So definitely on these darker patches of the tail there. And then finish it off with the ivory. Yeah, I think that's pretty good. Now, lastly, on the berries, or no, they're not berries, they're some sort of seed pod or something. I learned a tip about not putting, so leaving the very edge of what you're colouring for the lightest colour. So I'm putting my darkest colour here on these seed pods, and then I'm coming up with the next lightest colour. So this is copper clay and light. I'm using light copper clay now, and then I'm going to finish it with that ivory, and the ivory just goes all over, and it gives a really soft look. And it, by leaving the edges to have the lightest colour, it also gives the illusion that it's round. And then I would use the light copper clay on the stem. Okay, so that's the colouring. And there's my one I've already cut out, so I'll put that to the side. Keeps curling up to flatten it. Okay, so now we can put all of our coloured elements on. So I just use a bit of liquid glue, and I don't go too far from the centre. I don't like the look of things totally glued, but I know some people are worried that things will come off, so it's up to you how much of the things you want to stick. We've got that, and then 2 of these. So starting at the center, going up, and they'll just overlap in the middle. Like that. And then these are cut from the gold, what's the word, Mercury vellum, which is another new product. It's vellum with a gold mercury finish to it. Put a bit much glue on there, I think. Oops. Hopefully it doesn't ooze out. Just hold that for a sec. And I've got a little bow to put on that was made from the twine that's in the suite. And it's just going to go in the centre there and hide that sort of all the joins of all the leaves. Now what's happening here with my bow? Okay. There we are, covers up all of that, all the joins. And then the bird, like I said before, we're going to slip the bird underneath that circle. Just so the log that branch he's sitting on is underneath. So I'm just going to put glue on his body, really, and the berries. Slide him under there, so the tail hangs out. And then these other branches, so he looks like he's in a tree. So I've taken delivery of the mini catalogues that I mentioned before. So this suite is in the mini catalogue. And if you don't have a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator and you would like a catalogue, then please leave a comment in the comments on the video and I'll happily get in touch and get your address and send you one. Along with an annual catalogue if you need that as well. Just let me know. Okay, so that's our finished. Oh, we need the gems. Where have I put them? Over here. Goodness me. Okay, so I've used the one that I think is copper clay. I think it goes really well with that coppery colour there. And I've just put 3. I think 3 is enough when you've got a Z fold. I tried it before by putting some on this piece, but they looked a bit lost. It was okay when the card was closed, but when the card was open, it was like, oh, why have you got a gem over there? It didn't make sense. So I decided just to do them on the front. Okay, yay, we got there. I got there. So I now have 3. The one I originally made at the event that was in the slightly smaller size, and then the 2 that I've made today in the metric size. So yeah, like I say, I'll be sending out the tutorial with a flyer, a sheet about the conversion, and I'll include that table that I showed you before so that hopefully it can help you with your conversions when you have to do them. And if there's anything that I didn't cover that you have a question about, then please do comment on the video or send me an email, and I'm very happy to help you out. Thanks for sticking with me, and I'll see you again next week.